I've been trying to create and then going, I can't create from what I don't want. I have to create from being future.
But let's say that in a different way, because you can create from what you don't want. Because what you don't want helps you to know what you do want. Everything is relativity, isn't it? How you gonna know? So don't be down on yourself about what you don't want. Instead, know that what you don't want is giving you information about what you do want.
Okay, so then I kind of become really clear of what I do want.
Yeah.
And then I think I should be doing certain things, and I can't do them. It's super hard.
Because you're trying to take action too soon. Let's say that your vibration's more about what you don't want, and you've launched the rocket, but your vibration's still more about what you don't want, but you've launched the rocket. Your vibration's still more about what you don't want, but you'll have launched the rocket. Well, at first, if you try to take action before there's momentum happening over here. Now, say this better. There is momentum happening over here, but you're more tuned to the momentum that's happening over here where you don't want, rather than the momentum that's happening over here where you do want. It will tip. It's like a fulcrum that will tip, and you'll feel it. And it will be like an impulse. But until you get the impulse, don't worry about it. Don't try to push the noodle. That's the thing that makes you exhausted. It makes you think that you're not good at it. It would be like getting in your car and refusing to turn it on. And just say, I'll just drag one foot out the door and pedal. Well, you might be able to do it. You might be able to do it under the right conditions. But why not just turn on the engine? It's sort of the same analogy. Don't ask things of yourself until you're hooked into your true power.
Because there's a feeling like I just want to forget everything. And like I've got a twin sister, and we would play and we would make stuff up, and like we used to look in a big, big mirror, and we'd look into the mirror and we would see things that would always make us laugh, mostly. And we just played throughout the day.
What do you think made you start getting serious? What do you think caused an erosion of the playfulness?
When we started to have to make things happen.
So the playfulness didn't go away. You just focused somewhere else. So now, same thing. You can let the lack of belief go away by focusing somewhere else. It's all about focusing.
So if I give up all that I want...
Can't do that.
I can't do that.
You could give up your resistance to it.
And then I'm afraid that I won't take any action.
There. You have just pinpointed. You have just explained the human dynamic. You just explained it. This is really good. People will say, well, I really, really, really want this thing that I can't have. I really, really, really want this thing that isn't coming. I really, really want this thing that I can't have. But I'm afraid to just let go of it, because in my experience, since I've been, like most humans, dabbling in the world of action and justification and explanation and motivation and some measure of control, I'm afraid if I stop efforting, if I stop struggling and sacrificing and efforting, that the universe will act like my mother and not give it to me. If I don't plead a needy case, and if I don't really sell the case, if I don't really whine and cajole and make it really hard on them if they don't give it to me, then they won't give it to me. But the universe and the law of attraction and your mother are so different from each other. It's like I'm afraid to just let go of my angst, because I thought it was my angst that was grinding it into place. And we say, your angst can only grind so much into place, and it's not that great. Let it go and find out what true leverage is. And no, you can never, ever, 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 this is going to take a while, ever, 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 ever let go of your desire. You cannot let go of your desire. You cannot. You know why? Your inner being's all over it. And your inner being knows who you really are. And your inner being has wrapped itself around all of the desires that you hold and is sending a signal to the universe, a signal to the law of attraction, a signal of attraction, a point of attraction to the universe. And all of the cooperative components are being gathered for you. And you dare say, never mind. Oh, you cannot let go of your desire. That's the worst feeling in the world. When you even try to let go of what you want, nothing feels worse than that, because it separates you from the whole of you who's all over it, who sees it, who knows it. You know how they say you can't be a little bit pregnant? Sort of like that. Sort of like that. It's going on.
Yeah, because it's as if there's a part that says, no, I've got to keep feeling bad. I can't feel good. I can't go mountain biking and do the things I love.
Yeah, well, you might want to stop acknowledging that.
Yes, yeah, okay.
We get it. We were doing it too. In other words, we were acknowledging that's that contrast that helps you to focus. You see, that's why we go on and on like we do, because we know that if you can conceptually sort of grasp the laws of the universe, and really important, if you can acknowledge the larger part of you and its point of attraction and the part that that plays in your expansion and evolution. And then you understand the part that your negative experiences play in it too, so that you're not condemning that part, but embracing all of it. Step 1, step 2, and step 3 are all necessary in the creation. You got to know what you don't want to know what you do want, and so forth. That's what helps you to focus. And so step 1 and step 2 and step 3 are all important. It's just that humans make such a career out of step 1. And the reason that you do is because you keep reminding each other and telling each other and playing up against each other something that goes like this: struggle and hardship are necessary to prove worthiness. Where do you get that stuff? Not one time ever in the history of anything has sacrifice and struggle and suffering got you anywhere. Never. It's the emotion that indicates separation from source. The feeling of sacrifice, that's the feeling of pinching yourself off from source who's still beaming for you and at you. There have been a couple of times through the years that Esther has said to us, you guys need to stop beaming, because the fact that you keep beaming on what I want makes it really painful when I don't. So if you could just knock that down a notch, I'd feel better. We never listened to her. We're not going to let her be an exception in the universe. She's got no choice but to join us if she wants to feel good.
Okay, so the lover in the bed, the money in the bank is the giving up of kind of the action.
Well, just for a little while, put the lover in the bank and the money in the bed. Just mix it up somehow. Just do something to look at it a little differently. Because the lover is in the bank. It's in the bank. It's in the bank. It's in the bank.
So what's the trick to not noticing the lack and seeing what you
Getting
do
good
want?
at focusing on things that are easier and staying off the subjects that are harder. It's like when you say, I can't do that, then stop trying. I can't see it the way I want to see it, then stop it. We like to do it this way. So let's say that some situation is really active in you and you don't have something manifested right now that you want. You've got it. You just can't see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it. So you're focused upon it not being fully manifested. And you're calibrating to the current existence that is not what you want it to be. And you've been doing it for a while, so that calibration comes easy to you. And it's really easy because there's so many people around you doing the same thing. All the lover gone bad songs, and you can hardly find anything on television that doesn't hurt your feelings. Everything on television seems to be designed to tear wings off flies and poke at you. In other words, it's like just sort of mean to you. And so as you focus there and therefore continue the calibration there, it just sort of perpetuates that resistance that holds you apart from being a cooperative component. All the other cooperative components have been gathered. You're just the holdout. So take a notebook and write just briefly. Open a page. On this side, you're going to write a little bit about what's going on and how it feels. And on the other side, you're going to take a non-physical approach to it. You're going to let yourself calibrate the way your inner being is calibrated on it. And you can do it provided you know you have an inner being, and you know that your inner being has a perspective, and you know that negative emotion means your perspective isn't the same, and you know that your positive emotion means that your perspective is the same. So as you know these simple things, and you do, then this is an easy process. So you write the situation. I've been waiting for a long time and it doesn't seem to come. And how I feel is lonely and disappointed and unsure and lonely and disappointed and unsure. And I feel lonely and disappointed and unsure and impatient and lonely and disappointed and unsure. And we say, okay, that's enough for that. But you acknowledge where you are. You're not pretending that you're somewhere else. You acknowledge, you're owning, this is where I am. And the value of that is that if you acknowledge where you are, now you will be able to consciously feel the improvement. If you pretend that it's otherwise, I don't want a mate, I'm going to give up that desire. I don't want a partner, too much trouble. Got to compromise all the time and go to restaurants that you don't really like and go to bed earlier or stay up later. You're really funny people. But you can't give up your desire because it's active. And so you're going to acknowledge where you are. I feel lonesome and disappointed and like I'm not a good creator. Time to turn to the other side of the page. Now, on that side of the page, these words help you flip to the other side of the page. You say something like, however, do I mostly feel lonely or engaged? Do I mostly feel lonely or interested? Mostly. Well, sometimes I feel lonely when I'm thinking about that, but mostly I feel engaged. Do I feel bored with life or eager about life? Mostly. Which is it for you?
Eager and engaged.
Eager. Did you hear her? She didn't have any trouble with that. She didn't go, She said, eager. There's no competition. There's no question. You feel eager. Do I feel incapable or capable?
Capable.
So capable. That's who I am. Just that much conversation has hooked you up to who you really are. In other words, that situation is no longer the object of your calibration. This one is. And in this very brief focus, you have left that vibration on that subject in a new place. You're not all the way done with it, but you left it in a new place. Your point of attraction has shifted because you stepped back, acknowledged who you really are, activated who you really are. While the other subject was still active in the background, you calibrated all over the top of it. You owned it, and you summoned from that things you haven't summoned from that before. So you no longer feel like you felt before you did that. That's the calibration process.
There are a couple of areas that are a bit troubling.
Then stay away from them.
Well, I can't.
What?
It's very close people. Very close people.
Stay away from it.
Well, they would be really...
Avoid them. But they're my children. Avoid them.
Oh. Well,
Why do you torture yourself with things that are hard? That's like having some shoes on your shelf, and every time you wear those, you get a blister. And you say, but they're so pretty. And we say, really? You're going to put a blister on your foot?
well, they kind of need looking after, so it seems. And there isn't someone else really to look after them unless it's my sister.
We think that you and your inner being make a better team than you without your inner being. So if they've calibrated you to feeling bad while you're playing, either calibrate differently and then play, or don't play. Those are the options that we would choose. In other words, there's nothing wrong with turning to what feels better. And if there's something that's constantly aggravating you, you want to reach the place that your buttons aren't pushable and your chain isn't yankable and your goat isn't gettable and your feathers are not fluffable, and you want to reach that point. But until you are, stay away from them.